During the start of the game, Peter Parker/Spider-Man is in his apartment when the police radio goes off. Peter puts on his Spider-Man suit and swings to the location of the crime happening. Spider-Man then gets a call from Yuri Watanabe and she tells him about the investigation happening at Fisk Tower. Spider-Man progresses through the tower and taking out some Fisk thugs ambushing the police along Times Square, but it turns out that it was a trap and Fisk attempts to escape with a helicopter but had to wait for it to land on the tower. After Spider-Man breaks into the room Wilson is in, Wilson attempts to fight the Webhead. Spider-Man, luckily, defeats Wilson Fisk and assists the NYPD in his arrest. After the Kingpin of Crime's arrest, the authorities finally had enough evidence to serve a warrant. Afterwards, Peter investigates a possible break-in at an auction house storing Fisk's art collection, where he runs into his ex-girlfriend Mary Jane Watson as well as masked gunmen searching for a file. Mary Jane finds the file, which details a secret project named Devil's Breath, but the gunman sees the file from her and escape. Despite being estranged, Peter and Mary Jane decide to work together to investigate the theft. Peter consults with Martin Lee about the origin of the masks, and Lee remarks they are involved with a group called the Inner Demons and warns Peter not to investigate further. Peter, who helps Dr. Otto Octavius in his lab, returns to finish work on their artificial arm, but Mayor Norman Osborn forcibly shuts down the lab, seizes Octavius' research, and terminates his grant. Meanwhile, the Inner Demons continue to attack Fisk's properties and holdings. After several victories against them with the help of Officer Jefferson Davis, Peter attends a rally for Osborn's re-election campaign with Davis, Mary Jane, Miles Morales, and Rio Morales also in attendance. However, Mayor Osborn receives an anonymous threat, promising to destroy him and his city, causing him to leave the rally early. The Inner Demons then attack the rally with suicide bombers, killing many of the attendees including Davis, who is Miles' father. Peter witnesses Lee, taking the alternate form of Mr. Negative, leading the attack on the rally, tries to save MJ. However, he is knocked out by the blast. In the aftermath of the attack, Miles joins FAST as a volunteer, meets Peter, and quickly befriends him. At the same time, Osborn hires mercenary Silver Sable and her private military company, Sable International, to take down the Inner Demons. Sable doesn't trust Peter and constantly makes things difficult for him. Peter continues to pursue Mr. Negative and the Inner Demons, discovering that Lee has a grudge against Osborn and seeks to steal the Devil's Breath, a bioweapon Osborn inadvertently created while searching for a universal cure for disease. He manages to steal the Devil's Breath and attempts to deploy it in Grand Central Station, but is foiled by the efforts of both Peter and Mary Jane, subsequently arrested and sent to the Raft, a high-security prison. While Octavius becomes more obsessed with getting revenge on Osborn and begins further developing his artificial arms, turning them into large tentacle-like constructs and controlling them via an untested neural implant. Peter quickly grows concerned that the implant may negatively affect Octavius' mental state. With his new arms, Octavius attacks both Rikers Island and the Raft as Dr. Octopus, releasing all of the prisoners within including Mr. Negative, Electro, the Vulture, the Rhino, and the Scorpion, with whom he forms the Sinister Six. Also steals the Devil's Breath from police custody and releases it in Times Square, infecting hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers, including Peter's Aunt May. The combination of the outbreak and a mass escape of criminals, New York quickly falls into chaos, and Osborn declares martial law. He goes to apprehend his escaped enemies, quickly rounding up Electro, Vulture, Rhino, and Scorpion while Mary Jane searches for the Devil's Breath cure Oscorp is seemingly working on. Breaks into Osborn's penthouse and learns that his son Harry, Peter and Mary Jane's best friend, is terminally ill and that the Devil's Breath was actually designed as a cure for his condition. Discovering his secret lab, Mary Jane learns that Martin Lee was one of the test subjects for the Devil's Breath which granted him his powers. However, ended in tragedy as Lee had accidentally killed his parents, sparking his grudge against Osborn. Heads to the lab and defeats Lee, but Octavius arrives and takes both Osborn and the cure, leaving Peter critically wounded. No other choice, Peter builds himself a new armored suit and goes after Dr. Octopus, who reveals he knew Peter was Spider-Man, defeating him atop Oscorp Tower while saving both Osborn and the cure. The cure recovered, however, is too small to save everyone infected and Peter is faced with the choice of either using the limited amount to save Aunt May, who is on the verge of death, or allowing the doctors to study it and mass-produce a cure to save everyone else. Ultimately chooses the latter and has a tearful farewell with Aunt May, who reveals she already knows he is Spider-Man before passing away. Miles is bitten by a spider that escaped Osborn's personal lab via being on MJ's shoulder the whole time. The funeral is held for Aunt May, who is buried next to Uncle Ben. Mid-credit scene, Miles reveals to Peter that he has gained spider-like powers, prompting Peter to reveal that he is Spider-Man. Post-credit scene, Osborn, who has resigned as mayor in disgrace, returns to his lab where he has Harry kept in a holding tank with a black web-like substance until a cure can be found for his condition. Osborn places his hand on the tank, the substance reacts and copies him.